The Monday morning headlines say it all. Prince Andrew's attempt to explain his friendship with accused sex trafficker Jeffrey Epstein backfiring.
You've been on his private plane.
Yes.
You've been to stay on his private island.
Yes.
You've stayed at his home in Palm Beach.
Yes.
The Duke of York generating a new wave of questions in what has become a sea of speculation surrounding his ties to Epstein. Prince Andrew denied he ever saw his former friend with underage girls in a pointed and detailed interview with the BBC.
Do I regret the fact that he has quite obviously conducted himself in a manner unbecoming? Yes.
Unbecoming? He was a sex offender.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I'm being polite, in the sense that he was a sex offender.
Queen Elizabeth's son, who is 8th in line to the throne, was specifically asked about his 2010 visit to Epstein's Manhattan mansion after the financier pleaded guilty to soliciting minors for prostitution.
Now, I went there with the sole purpose of saying to him that because he had been convicted, it was inappropriate for us to be seen together.
Despite ending their friendship, Prince Andrew admitted he stayed with Epstein for 4 days.
You were staying at the house of
Yes.
a convicted sex offender.
It was a convenient place to stay.
Prince Andrew linked to Epstein in a 2015 defamation lawsuit against Ghislaine Maxwell, Epstein's one-time girlfriend. The lawsuit was filed by Virginia Roberts Giuffre, who, according to court filings, alleges Epstein directed her to have sex with the royal on 3 separate occasions when she was a minor. Giuffre speaking exclusively to Savannah.
Prince Andrew, of course, denies that this ever happened.
He denies that it ever happened, and he's going to keep denying that it ever happened. But he knows the truth, and I know the truth.
Echoing his repeated denials of the allegations, Prince Andrew says he has no recollection of even meeting Giuffre.
I can absolutely categorically tell you it never happened.
Giuffre claimed one of the alleged sexual encounters happened in March 2001 after dancing with the prince at a London nightclub.
She was very specific about that night. She described dancing with you and you profusely sweating, and that she went on to have possibly.
There's a slight problem with the sweating because I have a peculiar medical condition, which is that I don't sweat.
Prince Andrew, who served in the Royal Navy, says he developed the rare medical condition during his combat tour in the Falklands War. The royal also casting doubt on the authenticity of this photo, appearing to show him with Giuffre when she says she was just 17.
That's me, but whether that's my hand or whether that's the position, I have simply no recollection of a photograph ever being taken. I'm not one to, as it were, hug, and public displays of affection are not something that I do.
The prince provided this explanation for where he was that night.
I was at home. I was with the children. I'd taken Beatrice to a Pizza Express in Woking for a party at I suppose sort of 4 or 5 in the afternoon. And then, because the Duchess was away, we have a simple rule in the family that when one's away, the other one's there.
Regarding his 2010 visit to Epstein's Manhattan mansion, Prince Andrew did acknowledge he let down the royal family, saying he kicks himself on a daily basis. As for Giuffre, she and her attorneys have not responded to our multiple requests for comment.
Wow. That was such an eyebrow-raising interview. The royal family, are they saying anything about?
Well, the Queen knew about this interview, but they haven't made any public comment. His ex-wife, Sarah Ferguson, has called him, quote, a true gentleman. But also, guys, this comes as reports that 2 weeks ago, a public relations person working for Prince Andrew resigned because he didn't want him to conduct this interview.
So how's it being received overseas? I mean,
not well. And you can imagine the British tabloids have launched into it. The furor over it does not seem to be settling down today.
Some of these explanations, like saying, he went to Epstein's house to say we can't be friends, but then stayed there for 4 days.
Right. It just doesn't. There are a lot of people scratching their heads. If that's the explanation, you don't go to break up with someone and then stay there and have a dinner party as well, which is another thing he talks about.
All right. Thank you, Steph.